I started doing home portraits. Then I threw it out on Instagram, did a few friends' houses, family members, and I could make choices that it wasn't paved out for me to make a hard and set decision of what business decisions had to be. And I
Right.
can make choices in how much money the goal was and what I needed to get from it. I did have to learn new things, and I can't tell anybody enough that you can hire to your weaknesses, but you do have to learn new things, even if it's learning how to hire that person and find that person. It's important.
Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Hey there, friends, and welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. How's your summer going? Hope you're having a good one. I hope things are going really well for you. I am continuing with our Retailer Success Series, and today I have a special guest in for you. I've invited Virginia Warner, who is a member of my Retailers Inner Circle. She's also a member of my Level Up Mastermind group. And I've had the pleasure of working even one-on-one with Virginia and watch her grow and thrive in her business. I invited her in because I wanted her to inspire you, which is what I want these Retail Success Series to do for you, is to share what other retailers are doing it and how they're doing it and just different ways of running our businesses, because we're all running businesses differently, right? Your business, your way, right? But at the end of the day, we want to feel successful and happy and making money, I guess, doing what we love doing. So with Virginia today in our conversation, we chat about a lot of things, but one thing I really want you to pay attention to and think about is she really shares how she doesn't share that she had audacious goals, but she did have some really audacious goals, and also with her, the way she wanted to run her business. So you don't have to follow the pack, I guess is where I'm going with this. You don't have to do what doesn't light you up. So there's a few things that Virginia wanted to do and didn't want to do in her business. And she wanted to stick with what fuels her. And what fuels her is actually art. And I could remember a conversation with Virginia saying, like, how can I make that money with that? How can I do that? Like, how can I add that revenue stream to my business, to my retail business, because she has a fabulous retail business. So I hope that you take away, and I want you to listen through to the podcast and our conversation today and get inspired to do business your way. Her story is amazing. I'm sure you're going to find some amazing nuggets in here for you to take away. Also, while you're paying attention to me, and before we jump into our conversation with Virginia, I do want to remind you that I know it's July, it's hot, probably where you are. Hopefully, it's hot, unless you're in New Zealand and Australia, like we have lots of listeners in. But we are really jumping in to a crucial time for retailers, right? We're getting into Q4 is coming hot and heavy, literally, and it's going to be a really busy year this year. It's going to be a very big year for retail. And I traditionally, if you have been following me for a long time, or if you're a new listener, every August, I teach a holiday prep boot camp, a holiday sales boot camp, I guess is what we call it, to get ready for the holidays. And I do this inside my Retailers Inner Circle group. There's a workshop that we do. We do parts of it live, and it's fully intended to help retailers be prepared for what's coming on Q4. My intention, and I know most of you, if you've been in business for a long time, you probably have your inventory and you're really ready that way with your Q4. If you're not, don't panic, get started, let's go. But really getting ready for Q4 is super important, mentally, and having all of the marketing done, having all of your events and promotions and team and all of the other pieces that you might not even be thinking about ready, so that you can just put all of that on autopilot and have it done and ready so you can just do what you need to do in Q4, which is serve and sell to your customers. So can you imagine, just, you just have to show up, things are done, emails are prepped, all of your marketing is done. This is what we do in August, and it's a really popular, probably one of the most popular sessions that we do inside the retailer's inner circle. And I want to invite you to join us to do that. So if you are interested in being completely shoulders down, fully rested for, maybe not rested because Q4 is busy, but fully ready and prepared for what's coming in Q4, I'd love for you to consider joining us. You can jump on the wait list. The links will be in the profile here, in the show notes, and or you can find it over at wendybatten.com and jump on the wait list for the Retailer's Inner Circle. And we are going to be doing a special invite for everybody on the wait list at the in the next couple of weeks, so that you can join us in August for the Retailer's Inner Circle, and get that holiday prep boot camp. It's a great resource. I promise you, it's well worth jumping into our fabulous community. If you just come in, even there's no commitment, you can jump in just for the boot camp. And if that's all you want and you're not happy and you don't see anything else that interests you, you can leave. But we just want to let you know that that's coming. It's probably one of the most popular questions I get asked is, when's the boot camp this year? When's the boot camp this year? And the only way to grab the boot camp or to be part of our boot camp is inside the Retailer's Inner Circle. So all that, I hope you'll jump on the wait list. Hope you'll join us. If you are a Retailer Inner Circle member already and you're listening, shout out to you guys. I know a lot of you listen here as well. And you can look forward to that in August so we can get ready and be ready for what's coming in Q4. It's going to be a really great year this year, and we're just going to want to relax and enjoy it, right? We just want to have fun and enjoy Q4 this year. We all deserve it, right? We all deserve to see great success in Q4 and just have some enjoyment doing it this year, not jumping through so many hoops like we have been, right? Anyway, shout out to all of us because it's been a busy last year and a half, hasn't it? But we're going to see some great things coming. All right, my friends, let's jump into our interview with Virginia. I would love for you to let me know what your takeaways are from listening to Virginia and all of her amazing gold nuggets that she's going to share with you. So let's go. Hey there, friends. Today I have a special guest, another amazing retailer for you to meet. I want to introduce you to Virginia Warner, artist and shop owner of I can never say your shop name, Tazewell County Mercantile. And I'm so excited to have Virginia here with us today. She's going to share some really interesting shifts that she's made, surprise, surprise, over the last year, followed some great dreams. And I'm really excited. And I hope you're going to be inspired by her. I know you will be inspired by her today and her creative soul. And you're just going to love her to death. So welcome, Virginia.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming on here. I know how busy you are. I also know, so this is really funny. So we talk a lot about stepping outside of our comfort zone. I'm going to throw you under the bus right away.
Thank you
Uh,
for your
I've,
pal.
I've known Virginia for a long time. She's been inside my inner circle and doing coaching with me for some time. And it's so funny because this is where magic happens, right? Stepping outside of our comfort zone. So I want to thank you for being here. She was hesitant to join the podcast today, but it's just you and me chatting with some friends. That's it. That's all we're doing. So I appreciate you being here. So welcome. And I'd love for you to share, to start off, when I bring guests on, I'd love for you to share a little bit about your journey and what brings you, and tell us a little bit about your shop, where you're located, anything at all about your journey of how you are a retailer and artist and all of the fun things that you do.
Fun things that I do. Well, I still live from my hometown, about 20 minutes outside of my hometown on a farm. I did not grow up a farm girl, but my hometown and my area where I grew up, because I'm so sentimental, really inspires the things that I love and the things that I do. And it just kind of morphed out of doing lots of jobs that you needed to do to raise your family, to bring the money in. And now I'm here doing something I really love.
Did you always plan to be a shop owner?
Not planned. It's in my blood, though.
Okay.
I have family that's always done it. And My dad really says I'm a wheeler dealer. I like to trade and
That's good.
dicker and go into markets and stuff. And they've always known I could do it.
So tell us a little bit about your shop.
It's evolved a little bit because I took it over from my daughter. She was doing locally resourced things. I was much more interested in the antique part because I'm a history buff and a collector. And so that kind of grew from there. She had babies. And then I didn't want to give up what I had built inside her shop. I worked as a vendor. Basically, it was how the setup was. And then she just couldn't do it anymore. And I took it from there. So now it's my baby.
So your shop is super charming, and we will link your shop and all the goodness that you do inside there. But I see you're not bragging about your shop enough. I'm gonna have to pull this out of you a little bit. So it's a beautiful shop. What are some of so we talk a lot here on the Creative Shop Talk podcast and in my coaching groups and programs about different things and different ways that we become, everybody's accidental entrepreneur, I guess, is something that we talk a lot about. And it's sort of morphed that way for you. I know you were a collector and, like you said, you started as a vendor inside your daughter's store, but really it's been like you said, your baby for the last 2 years. Has it been 2 since you took over? Yeah, 2 years.
I've been in business about 3 or 4, but my baby for the last 2.
And did you have lots of retail experience prior to that, or antique or vendor markets? What were you doing before that?
I had been a vendor, but where I live is so, and I'm sure this will relate to people, I'm very isolated. I'm in a rural area, small town. I had to go out of town to be in a booth. There's not one here. That was difficult. So being here just made it so much easier.
And what are the type of things that you sell inside your shop besides vintage, and which you sell beautiful vintage? Like, what else are you doing? What are your revenue streams? We call them revenue buckets, as you know, inside the inner circle. What are your revenue buckets and revenue streams?
Antiques are my largest. Holiday season, I do a tremendous amount of food baskets. And then we do classes, we do DIY. I don't do a lot of furniture things in the store because I really lack space. I have to take down everything to have a workshop, and it's very labor intensive, but the workshops are, to me, they're part of the most charming things we have in the store because we get together, we laugh, and people want to stay long, and they are fun.
Right. So your workshops I'm just going to again elaborate because I know that just so that people can understand, not so much furniture painting workshops. You do carry a line of paint, and but it's very creative, artistic type barn quilts and that type of thing that you're doing, and you do beautiful work. I know the last year has been really challenging for that side of things for so many people. I keep saying the last year, but we're going on a year and 14 months now. I guess we're 14 months in. But at the time that we're recording this, things are just starting to open up again. We're starting to get back to that, and you've built quite a beautiful community of people that love to come into your beauty. Your shop is gorgeous, it's charming, it's small town. Your business, from what I have seen, is morphed just like a lot of other people's, as far as just starts with one little thing and one little nugget, your antique, and then, bringing it in as a vendor and growing and growing. And I've had the pleasure of watching you grow different streams in your business. I love that you do the gourmet foods and the baskets. Can you just elaborate a little bit? I forgot about that part. Can you just elaborate to share that revenue stream? A lot of people might not be thinking about or planning, or even it might not even be a seed in their brain yet about that side of that revenue stream, because you do quite well with that as well.
I do well with that, and it is pretty seasonal. It doesn't have to be seasonal. It is for me.
Yeah.
That was something I did before I did the store. I did that from home. I had a couple corporate accounts that I did. So they were mass production things, but I'm a foodie. Yeah. So that's easy for me to dig into. I love a great presentation, but it makes up a large portion, and you don't need too many of those accounts, but having a gift basket alternatives in the store, I think they're very accessible to everybody.
Right. I think it's a great way. And again, it's playing to your strengths. I mean, what you do is amazing. You're a foodie, as you said, and your baskets are stunning and gorgeous. But can you just share just really quickly? I know that's not exactly. I know there's some other things we want to chat about, but can you share really quickly how far in advance do you start planning those accounts and those baskets out?
Well, last year, of course, added an extra monkey wrench in there and tighten the screws a little bit. But I start planning in July for those because of quantity and space. Space is, I'm very limited in space, so it has to be done and planned out in increments. It's assembly line station when they come in, but making sure that those orders are in time to get the quantity I need of some things, because I find small batch things are more interesting, more enticing, more special. It really feels that somebody took the time for their gift. I do want, the largest account was for my husband. It started out originally with him, and we make apple butter on the farm. Well, we're talking 600 jars of apple butter that goes for fallen warriors. All the money from that goes to there, but that's part of their business Christmas basket that they use. That's personal. That's not what you would buy from a chain gift basket.
Right. And I really see the value of that. I really think that people are looking for personal touches. I mean, we can go to the big box store and buy the prefab cellophane wrapped box of gift, whatever. Does that really mean? So that is an area I would love retailers to pay attention to if they're listening. Listen up, my friends. There's lots of businesses out there that want to show personal touch. And I think this year, again, more than ever, people are just paying more attention to local, paying more attention to special. I think special is a good word that like you just said. So that, and you've had great success. It's been really great watching you do that. So
it's a high touch thing too.
Yes.
Something that I suggest when I present, like I said, I only have a few because I can only handle a few, but something I always suggest when we're talking to a business about that is, if you're taking the time to make this special curated basket that's very specific and shows your attention to detail, you need to deliver it in person.
Mm-hmm. Really great.
It's not always possible, but that high touch face to face, which is what we do as retailers in small shops, just continuing to build on that's important.
Right. So, and again, this is how we differ from big box stores. We talk about this endlessly here around here, but we are high touch. We care, right? It's all about caring and sharing our, and again, speaking of high touch, so there's other revenue streams, and again, this last year has caused a lot of conversations and reworking and looking at our revenue streams and really evaluating what we want from our businesses and for our businesses and for our lifestyles. And again, that's a common theme, and that's how I work and how I work with retailers. And one of the things, a lot of shifts have happened, and the business was not business as usual. Workshops didn't happen for you. So, we had lots of conversations about, okay, what can we do, right? It's really, what can we do and how can we show up and how can we keep the lights on and keep doing what we love to do?
Right.
And I am a big believer in sometimes we have to do things we don't really, we do things to pay the bills, right? But that's more of a short term, kind of thing to get where we want to go. One of the things, and a really special thing that I saw happening for you last year, and I really wanted you to share this with retailers, is you kind of identified what lights you up in your business. We went through the exercise of what do we like doing? What do we like doing? And how can we pay the bills with the things that light us up? We can't do those workshops that light you up and bring people together and have that community thing. So what was the thing that lit you up and that you really wanted to pursue and that you did?
I did. And I don't want to be perceived as this big, glamorous, gutsy thing I did, because it was a sanity decision too.
Good point. Sanity decision too. Yeah, great. Yeah.
When I took the shop over, and this is when I connected with you, I didn't just want a business. I mean, there were lots of reasons for me to do it besides just a money stream that were important to me. Of course, I like making $1 just as much as everybody, and that's that's gratifying. But of course, we went through this hard year, and my husband and I got sent home early in quarantine because he was in Washington and got exposed. So you got a SOS call, and we went through everybody's misery story for here. I was just going crazy thinking about what I needed to do to keep the lights on, plus the general unhappiness and anxiety that was setting in with the situation in the world, and worry. And I was an art major. And while all the things I've done have been creative in my past, mostly, at some point I tried it all. Painting, drawing was a first love. So I had time. I was trapped.
Yeah, we were all home with time, but
not really.
Yeah.
When you were working on things and you're talking
pivoting. Yeah.
Adjusting. I was adjusting to be in a different life for a while. I wanted to keep my obligations that I had set forth. Also, before pandemic set in, my area had a catastrophic flood.
Right.
That we had to do. I had to deal with too, and drops in money streams. I really needed something that made me happy, that brought me joy.
Mm-hmm.
So I started painting, and I probably would not have done it had it not been in the pandemic, because I would have set that disciplined time to do that. So it's a good thing that happened out of a bad thing. And I started doing home portraits. I started playing with it. Then I started advertising. I just kind of threw it out. I say advertising. I threw it out on Instagram, did a few friends' houses, family members, and I ended up doing over 50 houses last year.
I know. I'm so excited. I think that's so wonderful. I'm not teary. That's not the right word, but to hear you say that, that's amazing, because you took a silver lining and you're now doing something that lights you up. And then, and everybody was coveting she does beautiful work. And we'll share some of her work on in the show notes with you so you can see. But it's just beautiful. I mean, you do beautiful work, and it did help you through that. I was witness to that, and I was able to see that,
Really?
but it helped you, but it was a revenue stream. It was lighting you up. And sometimes we have to dig deep for that, in my opinion. Like, we have to really search for what would make us happy. Because you could have done some more Facebook lives, but your energy wasn't there. You didn't want to do that. I mean, you did do those as well too. I mean, we all did all the things, right? But
I did a lot of things, but I really just chose not to do some of those things because I'm not comfortable with them. I mean, just for one, they were technology challenged for me.
right.
I don't like being in front of the camera, so that was hard. And then I had a logistics issue of being out on a farm. I don't get mail delivery here to where I could pack up without taking a trip.
Right.
It was early on. He'd been exposed, didn't know if I could give it to somebody else. So we really quarantined, locked down, didn't do it. And people were very generous with waiting for pictures.
Right.
I found a lot of goodness in people understanding they weren't going to get instant gratification, which was a good feeling about humanity then.
Right. And I do want to say that it was gutsy of you. I know you don't see it as a big gutsy move, but in hindsight, when I look back at the big picture of things, you did. Yes, you did. I mean, maybe it wouldn't have gone anywhere. Maybe you didn't set out to start painting to make. And we're going to talk about what's happening now, but because now I'm like, poof, it's so exciting. But you didn't set out. You just set out to seek joy. I remember a conversation with you, and I think this is important for people to realize, as retailers, as self-employed people, as entrepreneurs. There are things we got to do every day that we want to do. We have to look at our numbers. We have to clean the toilets in the shop, or somebody has to. We all have to do things. There's things we have to do. However, we can make choices to not go down roads and not do revenue streams, and I remember a conversation you and I had vividly, and you said, I don't want to do this, and this, whether, I can't remember, the shipping. And you said, do I have to have an e-commerce store and ship and, do all these things? I don't have the logistics. All the things that you just mentioned. And I said, no, you don't have to. It's an option. It's just one of those things. It's a revenue stream that's available. So I think
Mhm.
it's really important for retailers to really think about, again, what lights you up? What do you want to do? What makes sense for you? What's in your bandwidth? You did not have that in your bandwidth at that time. I mean, you were, this was very early. I should mention, like, I know you mentioned, and thank you for sharing that and being so open about that, how it was dark days. It was hard. That was very early on in the pandemic when that happened to you. And again, like you just said, we didn't know. And, it was the whole world falling. I mean, it was really scary times, right? It was really scary times. And you found something that lit you up. And that was, and then I remember you saying, like, somebody wants a painting, like somebody else wants a painting. And like, do I charge them? What do I charge them? And it was really interesting. So we don't have to do what we don't want to do. I mean, in as far as revenue streams. Sometimes there's short-term things. Yes, we all have to do things, but
That was a big
um,
lesson for me this past year was
yeah,
learning I could make choices that it wasn't paved out for me to make a hard and set decision of what business decisions had to be. Or, I
it
don't
doesn't
have, I might
doesn't
have to
have to
make
look like
choices.
that. As is,
It
I think,
doesn't have to look like that. And I
right.
can make choices in how much money the goal was and what I needed to get from it. And it was very freeing. I had a preconception that I had to get rid of for what I had to do.
Right. So you got really brave. I don't care what you say. That was very brave. In my opinion, I watched you be very brave. And
Okay.
like you just said, you're not comfortable. There's lots of people that would like do art and put it out there, put it out there, and put it out there. And you were not hesitant. You did what you had. You did. You shared it, not reluctantly, but you did share. And it is beautiful. Your art is beautiful. I think, not to sound whatever, I think your art is beautiful, but it was like the whole, like, what are other people going to think, and is this something? And so you started with the houses that painting beautiful homes, and that filled your heart, it filled you up, and
Mhm.
it also filled those people up. It was a really great service. And but we can only do so much of that, right? We call that, one to one versus one to many.
Mhm.
And to continue. So you were scheduling time for art. I know that you were putting that, which was, again, filling you up, but it was a schedule you had to commit to. I have to have 2 hours of art. And I remember having a conversation about putting, like, boundaries on deadlines, and, like, you can only take so many a month when it got to that point. So the next step for that was, and some wonderful things have happened. And I love for you to share. You have been discovered. I don't know if that's the right word, but friended by, made relationships with, as things happen on Instagram, as things happen on Facebook, as things happen in the business world. Um, so people started talking. They started talking about your work.
Mhm.
Can you share with us? So one of the really cool things that have happened, and the direction of where you're going with this part of your revenue stream. You're still running your store, still doing all the things, but can you share the direction, and tell us what's going on now with your art?
Can. It was a goosebump moment for me. I have a very small account, but I had wanted to. It was all started thinking about classes, um, and I was a happen chance thing. I found Katie Baker of the Baker's Nest, and she does these fantastic barn quilts, and um, her presentation is just great. So I brought in her books and instruction books to do classes, and we just hit it off. She's very personable and conversational. And the first thing she came to me, and I hadn't advertised it. I did her house. We did the house first, and just I could cry thinking about it. She made me feel so good about it, that she's just that kind of person. And then she asked me to do a Christmas card because she does seasonal releases, and she wanted something very personal for those orders. So I did a painting for her for Christmas cards. And then in the cold months of the winter, and she shared all these things with her tremendous following. She's been to country living fairs, and um, very respected in her community. And she's been very generous. We started talking about doing cards, and it kind of morphed from there. We went through several ideas. I took did it came to an end that there were cards that she wanted I never thought of, but I couldn't have done them without her input either. And we did a curated collection just for her of her cards. And it was interesting because I am a mountain girl through and through. And she is from Illinois, flatland, but she is originally from Chesapeake, Virginia. I'm from Virginia, and she wanted a nautical theme. So not only was I pushed out of my comfort zone doing cards for somebody as an order wholesale, I had to do subject matter I wasn't used to either. And she's shared it with her community. I've had just this past week, I had a couple people shared on other big accounts. And I'm like holding my phone up. My husband's name is Mark. I was like, look at this. Somebody's hung it in their house. But it's been neat that it's such a small world and make connections with modern technology gets a bad rap, and I'll be the first one to jump on that bandwagon because I really hate it. But it's been a great thing for me.
So all
Confidence
it's been
booster.
neat, confidence booster, yes, for sure. But also, I mean, let's okay, I'm tuning your horn again here, so because I know you won't. So I want to just pull out what you said about like you're not all over Instagram and strategy and all this kind. You're like a casual user of Instagram to grow your business when you need to. Reluctantly, if I may say, I feel like you share, but you're not like you don't put all your strategy, marketing strategy. Like that's not a conversation you and I've had. It's organic, it's authentic, it feels integrity filled with the way you grow your business, the way you've been growing your business. That is what attracts those people. So again, you might not have had this massive following, but we don't need, listen up, everybody, we don't need massive followings to have an impactful life, right? So your retail business is doing well, you're getting noticed, you're getting orders. Can you share? I know what's happening. Can we share? Can I put you on the spot? Can you share what's happening now on the direction of your art and where you want to, where it's going with other things in your art business?
In small baby steps, we're going to release Virginia Warner Artist Christmas Cards collection, and hopefully a few other things to add wholesale line.
So
So
here, just think about that a year ago, right? A year ago,
cute.
right? I'm just
Never dreamed of it.
right. So this is an entire
Never.
new revenue stream. In addition to your store, you're still running your beautiful store, still doing all the things that fill you up, but you're not doing things that feel out of integrity, out of alignment with you. You have this opportunity, you've met amazing people, and I share all this, and again, like it is gutsy for what you're doing, and I know it's uncomfortable. We've had conversations about like, well, what do I do next? We just take the next step, right? How do we get into wholesale? I don't know. Let's take the next step. How do I have cards printed? You've had to learn how to get all the the printing and the printers and all the things. This is what we do as entrepreneurs, but you're doing things that are lighting you up. So you're taking your art, you're moving it forward, you're going to have it wholesale. Hello, retailers, listen up. If you want to be first in line, no, I'm serious. If you want to be first in line for one of Virginia Warner's card collection, because the first year I think we're talking about you doing a limited release. So to
Absolutely.
retailers, we're going to do limited release to retailers. So this is just and this is just the beginning. I mean, the beginning was last year. So out of this hard time, we could have just opened up an e-commerce site. And again, I think e-commerce sites are amazing. And I think a
Oh,
lot of people could do it, but it was not in alignment with you and how you were feeling and what you wanted to do. And I still remember, like I said, that conversation where you said, do I have to? Do I have to do this to keep my business? And you were like, I can't remember if it was mad or crying. It was like one of those emotions. It was just not a happy space. But
it
you
was
found
not. It
something that
was very
lights you
good.
up, that you're good at, that you enjoy. And without and I again, I really want retailers to listen to this and take this away from this conversation. If you stay in alignment with what lights you up and what fills you up and, work it. This has not been easy for you. I know, like, it's not like I know that there's been like uncomfortable steps all the way, uncomfortable steps all the way. I think, again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, that you were uncomfortable even coming here, and I'm like, you need to come and share this story with people, like the share that you can do what lights you up and make a living at it. This is not all just Virginia Warner artists, just hobby, it's not just a hobby. This is your business. You have a business that you
I'm
are running.
investing time and money into it, and to be rewarded for the happiness it brings is big to
Right.
me. It's heart centered. Now I'm not to the point where this
Right.
adds to my business as a
Right.
whole. But it's a profitable part of my business now. It's a big moment.
It is a big moment.
It
I'm
was
very proud of you. So
it
I'm
was
very
a champagne moment to even think that the steps that I had to take. I did have to learn new things, and I can't tell anybody enough that you cannot move forward. You can hire to your strength, your weaknesses, absolutely, but you do have to learn new things, even if it's learning how to hire that person and find that person. It's important. You
I
cannot turn all the wheels yourself.
No, we can't. You can't do it all. And I also think it's important to have other people around you to support you, and not just our husbands, right? I say that because maybe they don't know, or they're there to cheer you on anyways, whether you're going down that road or that road. I mean, so I guess it's important to support yourself with people that are going to ask questions and challenge a little bit too, which I see you do. So Virginia's a member of my Level Up Mastermind group, which I feel like that group has been really supportive of you as well.
Fantastic.
Um, to help you push through. And I'm saying that I'm like, it's not about me, it's about that group. They're really good people, and they've been, just bouncing ideas, especially again, to help you step into this, and you can do it, and cheer you on. And I think you should have some champagne moments. I keep saying you need to open those bottles of champagne. And I do remember, it's funny, I did see that picture that you posted. You shared somebody had your art in their house,
Oh my
and
gosh,
I showed that to my husband and said, "Oh, my retailer's got this painting and it's somebody else." It's a big moment. So I think
it
those are
is a
champagne
big,
moments. Yeah.
big.
So I
It's little
yeah.
but big at the same time. It's a very emotional, and all of this journey has been emotional with the art part for me. And
Yes,
to be rewarded.
I can see that. But putting ourselves out there always is emotional, right? So opening our business and seeing if people will walk in the door. So you've had your hat firmly on, and I know we're running a little bit late, and I appreciate your time. I know you're busy because you have so much art to do. But so you have your hat firmly your CEO hat firmly on. I'm very, like, you've been making decisions. I want to say this as well. So there's this creative artsy side and beautiful shop and workshops and all these things. And this is what a lot of retailers are morphing into. We're just sort of following the path, and that's how we grow, right? Like we feel what's good, we try things, we come back, we try new things, especially this year, right? This past little while we're trying new things. I always say pivot, but you just said something even better, like I don't can't remember if it was realigning yourself, but just
Adjust.
trying, yeah, adjusting to what is and what feels good, right? So it's like, so I've just been really proud of you, and I want to remind retailers that, making decisions that are based on numbers. We've had those conversations sometimes, because it would be really great to be like, oh, I'll just do this art for, but we have to value our time and our money and our energy, and that's again the other thing. But those were decisions, and in the integrity of what works for your brand, and and all of those things. And it's been really wonderful watching you put that CEO hat on, make those decisions, and do what lights you up, and see the success. So that's really why I wanted you to come on and inspire other retailers to make decisions that work for them and get inspired.
Profit
So thank
margin
you.
is the and you've helped me with this a lot. Knowing my profit margin on a product can really adjust and dictate how much you can do. I needed to make sure my profit margin was large enough to accommodate my ability to produce, how much I could produce.
Yeah.
And that was an uncomfortable decision, but that was so important. Now it's kind of neat. I think, well, if I can double this,
So,
here.
so Virginia knows, and those of you that have heard on the podcast before, I always talk about adjusting the dials, right? It's almost like it's kind of like looking at a spreadsheet, but I don't like spreadsheets. But like literally, like, oh, if we just go up 1% here and we go down here, like it's just kind of like tweaking, and it is so great. So as we wrap up, thank you so much, Virginia, for being here. Is there, I always like to end the show with asking my guests if there's any quotes or mantras or favorite sayings or anything that advice maybe that you've been given that you could share with fellow retailers that would help them in their journey to
I
success?
had to think about this one hard because
Uh,
I'm a quote person and a history person, and right now I'm really into World War II stuff. So it's Winston Churchill. You're deep and pithy. So
Go for it. Go for it.
go for it.
Share with
So
us. Yeah.
success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts.
So good. That's a great way to wrap up. So you do have such great courage, and I'm so proud of you. And we will have all of your information and how retailers
Thank
can
you.
reach out to you because they're going to want to see what you're doing and how you're doing. And again, it's Virginia Warner Artist. Is that the best place for people to find you? Or
It's
we'll put the
Virginia
links,
Warner
but
on Instagram right now, but
okay.
it will change.
Okay. Because I've been pushing her to call herself an artist. There we go. So I think
Yes,
it's time.
yes.
Yeah. So, and the retail store is Tazewell County Mercantile on Instagram as well too.
Tazewell County Mercantile.
Yeah. So that's great. We'll have all that information there as well too. So thank you for your time. It's been great.
Thank you for having me.
I
It wasn't too
appreciate.
painful.
See, not too painful. So thanks everybody for joining us,
Thank you.
and thank you, Virginia. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you were here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. Make sure you join our Rockstar Creatives Facebook group. We will continue the conversation over there weekly. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.